What we're going to look through now is a second method of arriving at the quadratic formula. First, we're going to find the zeros of the quadratic relation. We're going to do that by substituting 0 in for y, because where y is 0, we'll find our x-intercepts, or our zeros. So we put our 0 in. Now what we do is we solve for x by completing the square. Now what we're going to do here is a bit different from what we just saw. We're going to move the terms without the variable to the right side. So we have 2 times x squared plus 3x is equal to negative 5. So I move the plus 5 to the other side of the equal sign. Therefore it becomes a negative 5. So we do the same here. Ax squared plus bx is equal to negative c. Now what we're going to do is divide all the terms by the coefficient in front of the x squared. So we're going to divide both sides by this 2. Remember, this 2 is a. So we divide all of them by 2. When we divide the first one by 2, we get x squared. When we divide 3x by 2, we get 3x divided by 2. And then on the right-hand side, we get negative 5 divided by 2. Here it is over here. So the a's cancel out in the first term, bx divided by a, and negative c divided by a. Now what we're going to do is going to complete the square by adding squared half of the coefficient of the x term. So here's what that looks like. Adding the squared half of the coefficient of the x term. So we are adding the squared half, so 3, 2 divided by 2, so 3 over 2 divided by 2. So we've found out the half of this, we've squared it, and we're adding it to the left-hand side. If you do that, you have to add it to the right-hand side as well. Here's what it looks like with the letters. So we take BA and divide it by 2, or multiply it by 1/2. That's what we have here. And we square it. Since we've added it to the left side, we must add it to the right side in order to make sure that the expression remains equal on both sides. Now what we do is we factor the perfect square trinomial on the left side. So we have x plus 3 over 2 times 2 squared. Notice this x squared becomes the x, and then the 3 divided by 2 times 2 squared is our second term. Here's our factored of this trinomial. We do the same over here with the general form of the quadratic expression. So our x squared becomes x. Our b divided by 2a squared becomes b divided by 2a. We take that and square it. So we have factored this trinomial. And this is what it looks like when it's factored. Now we will rearrange and simplify the terms on the right side. So we've got negative 5 divided by 2, and we'll move it to the right-hand side. Then we've got to perform this square. So 3 squared is 3 squared, 2 squared is 4, and 2 squared we'll leave as 2 squared. We do the same thing here. So we're just going to rearrange. We'll send the b divided by 2a squared to the left here. So we have b squared divided by 4a squared minus c divided by a. Now what we do is combine the terms on the right side. We'll find the common denominator first. So on the right-hand side, the common denominator is 4 times 2 squared. And then we can add it. So we have 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5. So what we have now, since that there is 4a squared here and only 1a, we need to multiply this c and this a by 4a. So we get minus 4ac. So b squared minus 4ac divided by 4a squared. Our seventh step is to take the square root of both sides to cancel the exponent for the variable. So we're going to square root this side to get rid of this exponent. So now it's gone. We'll also have to square root this side to make sure that what's on the left is still equal to the right. And we've done that. We do the same here. So now we have plus or minus divided or square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 4a squared. Now we'll simplify the right side. So what we did is we performed the square root of the denominator. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 2 squared is 2. So now the square root is only on the top. We do the same thing here. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of a squared is a. Now we isolate the variable on the left side. So we need to get rid of 3 divided by 2 times 2. So we subtract it. So now all we have is x on the left-hand side, which is what we were trying to do. Now we have this minus 3 divided by 2 times 2. Notice the common denominators are the same, so we'll be able to add these in. We'll be able to add this to negative 3. Here it is. We remove the b divided by 2a and put it on the right-hand side, and it becomes negative. Now we simplify the right side by rearranging and combining the terms. So our negative 3 will rearrange to put it on the left side of the square root. So we have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5 divided by 2 times 2. We were able to add this to the square root because the denominators are the same. Likewise, the denominators are the same here. So we can move this negative b to the front and have plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. And there is our quadratic formula.